Hello, hello! If you would like to join me to check out my current ostrich collection video, then stay tuned. Okay y'all, so today I thought I would just kind of do a quick little video about my current ostrich collection, talk about some of my favorites, and talk about some differences, as well as some ones that I wasn't super thrilled with, and we'll talk about that in the video. So we'll just start with the very top one. So this one is currently my only Gillio ostrich. This is the Gillio rosa. Most of these, let's see, well, no, I guess I shouldn't say that, but this is a B6 Apunto. I was gonna say most of them are B6, but that's not necessarily true. So this is a full quill, and I've had this since the summer of 2020. So it has gathered a little bit of patina, and you can kind of see a little bit of shine on it here and there. I have been using it quite a bit since then. Now, I will say a couple of things. So this is not obviously the most recent batch, but this was the recent batch from the summer since they hadn't produced this one in quite some time. And it was, when I first got it, what I would consider to be buttery soft. So very, very soft. Just a real nice kind of, you know, you really did want to touch it. So I will say, although it is still soft, it has lost some of that feeling as it has patinaed. Not a ton, but it has lost it a little teeny bit. So I don't know if some of that had to do with like the dyes, or you know, how the hide was dyed that made it have that soft feeling. I'm not really sure, but it definitely was softer than the Speks that I had at that time. So, but it is still quite soft, and it's a really pretty color. I have another video, I believe actually on my Instagram, where I compared this one to the Spek Indian Pink. They're almost identical colors. They do their hides a little bit differently. Gillio's full quills tend to be a lot less raised, and you can kind of see that if you look at them from the side here. They're pretty flat. From what I'm told, in the process of them making the, I shouldn't say making, because they obviously don't make a cowhide, they alter a cowhide, but in the process of working with the cowhide or ostrich hide, they shave it a little bit differently than Spek. And that doesn't make it right or wrong, it just makes it different. And so all of the ostriches that I've had that were full quill from Gillio, they do tend to lay a little flatter, and for some people that's a really big deal. Now the quills also kind of look like, I'm trying to really show the picture, they kind of look like almost like a roller went over them as well, to kind of push that quill down, maybe so that it doesn't catch as much. I'm not really sure. Again, I'm just showing subtle differences between my experience with the Gillio and my experience with the Spek. It doesn't make either one right or wrong, it just makes them different so that you kind of have an idea of the differences in the two. So, you know, for a few reasons that can be a bonus. Like if touch is a problem and when you're touching it, it feels too bumpy. These ones do feel bumpy, but not nearly as much as the Spek. So, you know, that could be something that you think about. To me, the leather does feel just and I mean, I'm being picky here, but it does feel a teeny little bit thinner than the leather from Spek. Now, you know, I don't have a caliper to measure the thickness. This is already put together, so it's not necessarily going to be right. But it does feel just a tiny bit thinner than the Spek. So over time, will that make a difference? I'm not really sure yet because again, I've only had the Gillio for about 6 months. I have had some Spek ostriches for a few years. So I can't really speak to the Gillio yet because I just haven't had it long enough. So again, you know, those are some of the variations that you might notice between the Gillio full quill and the Spek. The other big difference that you will notice between the Gillio and the Spek is the price. So Gillio does, because their planners are ready-made, and they are manufactured for Gillio, but they are mass manufactured. So, you know, we're talking about, I don't have any idea, you know, how big their company is that physically makes the planners, but it's not 4 or 5 people like it is with Spek. So, you know, so generally when you're looking at mass manufacturing, pricing will be different because it's less of an artisanal type of manufacturing versus mass production. And, you know, I say mass production, but Gillio might only have 30 people making their covers. I'm not really sure. But it's definitely different than Spek, who basically only their family and a couple other people physically make their custom planners. So, you know, the price will definitely be different there because of that. So I would say in general, if you're looking at a full quill to a full quill, plan on there being a minimum of $200, depending on the size, $200 to $300 difference in price between the two. So just kind of keep that in mind as well when you're trying to decide if ostrich is right for you. So that is the Gillio Rosa. It's beautiful. I love it. You know, this is not a cover that I plan on selling. It's definitely a keeper in my collection. And yeah, so there it is, B6 a Punto. Okay, so let's compare a B6 to a B6 in a full quill. Just kind of trying to move these over a little bit. So this is Spek's Lavender, and this one I actually had custom made to meet most of the specs of the Rosa. So I went with the exact same width. I went with square corners. I did do a larger popper. Now, one big difference you'll notice with the clasp, I keep saying popper, but I mean to say clasp, is that Spek actually stuffs their clasp. So you can see that as a difference. Now I will tell you, with the only thing I've ever had an issue with the clasp for Gillio is in some of the polka leathers. This one hasn't, this one was already a little bit darker when I got it than the regular leather. So it really hasn't created that dot that I've talked about that I really don't like. Yeah, it's really not visible here, so I'm not really sure that's going to be an issue with this particular leather. But I do like that Spek stuffs theirs, so that's just not going to be a problem. So now this particular leather in the ostrich is very soft as well, but it is less soft feeling than the Gillio Rosa. And let's look at the quill comparison. So you can see, looking up really close here, that those quills are a lot higher, right, than they were on the Rosa. And let's just look at them side by side. And again, I'm only doing this as a comparison for those people that are curious about the two and whether or not they want one or the other. And that's really your decision to make. So you can kind of see one is definitely higher than the other. So for me, that's not an issue. Some people, I understand, for different reasons that would be an issue. They do get fairly flat over time. And again, this one I've had for 3 years, and although it does feel a little bit raised still, they're still pretty flat. So this one is, like I said, in lavender. This is a widened B6 Codex. It is not heightened. Some people will heighten them as well to fit a cover on cover. I actually have a slightly smaller book in here. I'm using the Wonderland 222, and I do have their cover on here, although it really isn't necessary. But yeah, I have it on there. The reason why it's on there is because I was using it in a Gillio. I was actually using it in here, and standardly the Gillio is, and it's minuscule, but it is a little bit taller, and let me just show you, than the standard B6 for Spek. So you can see, I mean, it's literally just like millimeters taller. But the thing is that everything in a custom for Spek costs money. So heightening it even 2 millimeters is gonna cost you 45 euros or something like that. And if you don't need it, I wouldn't bother. So that's why, you know, this one is slightly different, but it is the same width as the Gillios because I prefer a lot of room. Now, I will compare this to my very oldest B6 that I have for you, and you can kind of see, if I can get these to line up, that my, there we go, that my lavender is definitely bigger than my burnt pink here. And so the reason why I went with wider is you guys have seen me use the rings as well, so I can kind of use this as 2 different planners instead of just the one, and it works out nice, and it's still a really good size, and I love it. But let me get a close-up for you. And so this one is the lavender Spek, and it is beautiful. I love it. I love this color. It's just so pretty. And it's coming off fairly true. It's a little bit different than what's coming off on the camera, but it's pretty close. So that is lavender. So next, since I just had it, is my Spek. This was my very first Ostrich X. And so you can kind of see with the Ostrich X, the quills are kind of there, but you can't really see them. They're pretty flat. And so if texture is a huge problem for you, I definitely recommend Ostrich X. So you can just see that it's definitely a lot different. I enjoy both of them. I do like my Ostrich X to have the dots still, just not necessarily feeling them. but I do definitely like the dots. Now this one has changed color a little bit, and that's my fault. I had it sunning for too long, so you can see that the front and the back are two different colors. And again, that's my fault because this was sitting in the sun on my desk and it sort of bled out the front side of this cover, versus the back is definitely a slightly different pink. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, and you can kind of see it there in the, like, it was, the clasp was closed as well, and you can see the difference in color here. But again, this is a forever keeper. I really love this color. I actually would like a full quill just because I like the color so much, and I think the full quill would be beautiful. But that's not happening anytime soon. So, but yeah, so that is a burnt pink. And this one is closer to like a B6 Slim. I mean, it does fit a B6. I'm trying to think what I have in here. I have the Wonderland notebook in here. The Stalogy fits, but what was the problem? Oh yeah, the full width Stalogy interferes with the pen loops when they come together like this in this particular one. And to be honest, if you use Spek without widening their B6, that's still gonna happen if you do two pen loops. So I have been trying to convince Petra to widen the standard size just a little bit, because it even though it does fit the B6, it fits it very tightly, and it would be nice if she would offer that to just be standardly a little wider so that we weren't paying for widening every single time because their standard size is kind of small. So stay tuned. Like I said, I'm still working on that. But so yeah, so that is the burnt pink in the Ostrich X. It currently is the only Ostrich X that I have. All right, next is my oldest, and this is Inno Blue. This is a custom codex, mega codex for the Mega Weeks. You can see it has a lot of patina on it because I've had this one for a few years now. Super shiny, if I can really, there you go. Super shiny, and a little bit of darkness like on the clasp itself. You can kind of see some darkness there. And that's basically what happens just like from your oils, like touching it and just kind of getting it patinaed. So looking and comparing, you can see that just over time, especially up here, you can see how I have kind of just with use flattened these quills down a little bit more than the newer ones. So yeah, it's definitely over time, it just automatically gets flatter. So that is Inno Blue, and it's definitely more of a purple, but it does have some blue undertones to it. But I really enjoy it. So that is that. And then last but not least, my latest. I say latest and greatest. This is my Canterbury Bells, and this is in a personal wide. And again, this is a Spek. One of the things that I absolutely, I mean, there's so many things that I love about Spek, and yes, y'all know, I mean, I have paid for all of these myself. I haven't been given any of them. If I do get given one, I certainly will disclose that. And I don't get discounts or anything like that. Why do I tout Spek so much? 110% because of their customer service. Petra is very patient and very wonderful, and she works so hard to make sure that all of her customers are pleased. And at the end of the day, that is huge to me. Now, does that mean they're perfect and they never make mistakes? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But in making those mistakes, they make good on it, and they don't give you grief about it, and they don't belittle you, and they don't make you feel small, and there's just no drama, and I love it. So that is why I love Spek so much. That is why, despite having some issues here and there, and I have had issues, despite having issues here and there, Petra has literally not only fixed every issue that I've ever had, but owned every issue that I've ever had. And I just really, really respect that. And that is something I can stand behind. So, okay, I had to get aside and kind of plug the company a little bit. And the fact that they are truly family owned and oriented, meaning they make all of these covers by hand themselves. They don't go out to a manufacturing company. That isn't the case for their TM line. These are pre-made in a factory, therefore they're able to sell them at a lower rate. So these ones are mass manufactured. The ones that are their Touch Me leather line that are already pre-made. So just kind of have that, you know, as awareness that this is not a custom and this is not handmade by the company itself. This is mass produced for the company. So just kind of be aware with that. But otherwise, these, you know, the ones that we discuss and do customs with Spek are made in-house with their family. I mean, many times Petra herself is sewing or gluing or cutting. Her mom is, you know, helping to ship and cutting samples, and you know, so all of the family is very involved with the physical making of these covers, and that's a big deal. So this particular one is full quill as well, and so just kind of again showing you, you know, how the bumps are definitely higher on a brand new cover coming in. They will flatten over time. Now this particular color is light. It's called Canterbury Bells, and it is coated. So it's a little bit different than, say, the burnt pink. This one is not coated. It's just, you know, obviously dyed, but it's a raw color. This particular one is coated, and if I can capture that, which might be impossible. Let me change my lighting. Yeah, it's really hard to see, but it is definitely coated, and it's, you know, therefore it's almost like, it is still soft, but it's almost like the feel of if you were to get a printed ostrich, but not quite. So it's not quite as plasticky feeling as that. I have some samples of those right here, and you can really see how super shiny these ones are. I say that, there we go. You can see how super shiny those are, and you know, they definitely have more of a plasticky, oh, that's a better picture. You can really see how shiny that is. They do definitely have more of a plasticky feel to them. The Canterbury Bells isn't nearly as plasticky feeling as these, but it does have a little teeny bit of that because it's coated. And the reason why it's coated is because it's so light. So there are two colors in the ostrich line that are coated. That is Canterbury Bells, which is this, and Sky Blue, which is this one. And so you can kind of see the same thing. You can see that shininess. They also, with the Sky Blue, they laid almost like a sheen over it. So it's like a shimmer. So if you're really into the whole shimmery colors thing, this is definitely an ostrich color for you. But so they lay that coating over the top to prevent any of that dye or coloration from moving. So it is definitely going to feel differently than any other, like let's just compare these two. This is a tapestry gray. So you can see this definitely looks more raw versus this one being shinier and stiffer sounding. Okay, so it is definitely a different type of ostrich to just kind of bear in mind. You know, it's not going to be like the standard ostrich that everybody else is used to seeing because it does have that coating. For me, I love it because it's going to be very durable for what I'm using it for. So I am definitely excited about that. So that is Canterbury Bells. So those are the only ones that I currently own. But I did want to just kind of quickly show you guys some of the samples of different colors of real ostrich, and then I can just do a quick flip of the printed ostrich. So this particular one here is African Violet. So it's definitely a purpley. This one is Crystal Blue, I believe. Yes. And so it's sort of that bluish teal. Then this one is the Indian Pink, which, let me get mine. So that, is this Indian Pink? Yeah. Let me just show you the difference. So it is a just slightly different shade than the Gillio, but not much. Okay, and then this is the Cyclamen. So it's pretty bright. And then I love this one. I think this is going to be my next one I save for. This is Wheat. And it's just this really pretty light, just, it's like a buttery little brown. I really do enjoy it. And then this one is Lynn. Is this Lynn? Yep. This is Lynn. There we go. That's a better. And then this one here is Arctic Ice. So it's a little bit darker than the Lynn. Putting them side by side, you can see not much difference, but it is darker. The Lynn has a creamier tone to it. And this one almost has a greener tone. And then Mouse. And finally, Anthracite. So those are that batch. And then we have the Sky Blue, which again has that sort of shimmery. And then this one's pretty. This is Buttercup. And then this one, what is this one? Antique Saddle. So that's pretty. And then this is Iris Blue. Hang on. Come on, camera. You can do it. There we go. Iris Blue. And then French Blue Jeans, which that's a pretty one too. And then this is Brilliant Green. Really sad I know all these names without needing to look. I don't remember this one. Clamaris. So a little bit darker, probably. Hang on, let's just do a quick comparison. So you've got Clamaris, French Blue Jean, and Iris Blue. So all just different tones of blues. And then that's a Burnt Pink. And this one is the Pistachio. So it's sort of a greenish, grayish tone. So if you're a green fan, that's a really pretty color. And then Bordeaux. So it's definitely a more in that burgundy type of realm. This is a pretty one. I've never seen this one in person. It's a lot darker, you know, than I thought, so I was interested. This is Nicotine. So it's definitely just like a beautiful chocolate brown. And then this is Serpentine. So really pretty. Let's see. Where was That's Arctic ice. Let's see, anthracite is definitely darker, and I was just thinking, oh, here it is. Nope, that's the green. I'm thinking of the other gray, what it would be in comparison. I thought I had that one. Hang on. I know I have that one. Serpentine. No, I guess I don't. So yeah, I was just curious the difference between the serpentine and the other gray that I sold, which I don't have here, but, and oh, hang on, duh, there it is. Tapestry gray, that's the one I sold. So, okay, forgive me if I am repeating myself, my camera cut me off. So these three colors, I just was kind of curious about how similar they were. This one here is, the middle one is the serpentine, then this is the anthracite, so it's a bit darker, and this one here is the tapestry gray. There we go, that's a little bit better. So now you can kind of see the difference in those three colors. And then the black, so it's a pretty black. And then the tapestry gray by itself. And tapestry gray is, so I have had this one, and it was one that I sold, and honestly it was one that I sold because I just did not like this color. If you're a super gray fan, then this color might be right for you, but it just wasn't right for me. I'm more of a bright and cheery, and if I was gonna go browns, even though right now that kind of looks yellow, it really isn't. It's more of a buttercuppy, it is called buttercup, but it's definitely more of a yellowy orange brown. That's a little bit better. I would kind of go with something more like this, or like I said, I'm really thinking about wheat being my next cover, and I might do a bicolor. I might do like a wheat, and I was thinking about a blue, like maybe these two, wheat and French blue jeans, because I think those would be beautiful together, and I may do that, but of course that would require me to find two hide buddies and not just one, so we shall see what happens. But anywho, I just wanted to show you all of the colors that I currently have, so that maybe if you decide that ostrich is right for you, then you looking at these colors might actually help you make a decision. And then finally, last but not least, is the printed ostrich, which is also a very good option if you want that ostrich look, but you can't afford the ostrich prices, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. These are colors that I currently have in samples. So this one, I don't know these ones as well, but this one is like their light gray, and this one just says 230. So if you can match that one online, let me get this to, there we go. Then you have that. Now these ones are coated, so you know, they're gonna be a lot more durable as far as like water spots and stuff. So there's that one. And then this one is like a purple, and it says 234. And I almost think this is the same one. Yeah, that's the same one. And then my dogs are barking, playing in the background. And then 237. And their pink one. And a brown. And then this is, I think it's called like seal green, 239. And finally, they're black, which I have seen this one on a lot of them, and it is really actually quite stunning on a cover. So that is that. So if you guys have any questions, I know it's somewhat of a long video. I really wanted to make sure I was incorporating as much as I could possibly think about as far as ostrich goes. Ask any question that you would like down below. Feel free, and like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And if you would like to support my channel, then you can buy me a coffee. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.